we create. So what we think and feel, we create. And Dr. Murphy was a reverend, a minister in the religion of divine science, which is the same religion to which Emmett Fox belonged, divine science. Now which is of course a group of these so-called New Thought religions, and he wrote a number of books, one of which is this, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which is described as a landmark bestseller in self-help. It's a self-help book. Catherine Ponder, in a magazine article written in 2009, Ponderings of Catherine Ponder, she speaks about a visit she had, or a few interactions she had with Dr. Joseph Murphy. So they were all around the same circle. Now, so he says we create what we believe. So the life that we are living right now, with its, and these are my words, with its positives and negatives, ups and downs, they are all our creations. You can't hide from them. You might find them miserable, you might like some aspects, you don't like some aspects, but that is the truth. They are our creations. And Dr. Murphy follows in the same line of thinking as Maxwell Maltz, Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Did he come to Trinidad? Right, yes. I think he did come, and I think he did a seminar with him or something. Right, yes, Dr. Maxwell. Right, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who wrote in 1960 Psycho-Cybernetics. Murphy's book was published in 63 and Maltz in 60. And these were, I never forgot the work of Dr. Maxwell Maltz, as I now, use Murphy's book. And what had puzzled Dr. Maltz, who was a surgeon, a plastic surgeon, a successful plastic surgeon, he was puzzled by the attitudes of some of his patients whose plastic surgery was successful, but they still felt inside that they were ugly. So outwardly in the mirror, to you and I and the world, they were beautiful, but inside they did not accept that. And you hear a lot about that from plastic surgeons. People come to fix this and that, and tummy tucks, and some of them die in the process. Well, Kanye West's mother was one who died in the process of trying to fix something. But actually what we are seeking to fix in those outward cosmetics is the feelings on the inside. And this is why Dr. Maltz was led to do some work in that field. And he started writing, and he did write this book, and he has written a few others. So I just thought I would talk about him because he was a forerunner in this work. And I'm sure they were met. Well, of course, we know Jesus the Christ. The words, he said, according to your faith, be it done unto you. It can't be much simpler. You have to have the faith. And we always have faith. Sometimes it's called fear, because faith and fear are two of the sides of the same coin. So we have this belief, and we live our beliefs. We feel, is my mother, is my this, is my that. And it's so to a certain extent. We have these subconscious, like reels, running through our mind. And some of the things we do, we don't even know why we do it. But we do it because we saw it being done, or we heard from our parents in the environment. Sometimes you're so small, you're not even conscious that you're picking it up, but children pick up everything. That is why they say, show me the child until he's 7, and I have him for life. Those first 7 years are very important in what we teach and children. Not that it cannot be reversed, it can. Everything, because God is always in. So these things can be reversed. But whether we have children or charges, grandchildren, we have to be very careful about what environments we give to them and what we say about them and their parents, because we know a lot of people Or you're just like, if you're vexed with a child, you're just like your father. If they don't like the father, if the father and them fall out, or you're just like your father. So the message you are sending to that child, or the message the child is receiving, I am no good. If I just like somebody who you find is no good, and you are telling me I am just like them, well, I too must be no good. But there's hope. And this is what Dr. Murphy and Maud and all of these persons said. If we think good, and of course unity philosophy as well, if we think good, good follows. If we think evil, evil follows. Because we are what we think all day long. Not just the little 5 minutes and 10 minutes, or even the hour, or the 2 hours, or how much ever time you spend in prayer in the morning. After that, if you make a beeline for the newspapers and you read every negative thing in the papers for about 2-3 hours, guess what is the dominant thought in your mind? Not what you had filled up with, not what you had filled your tank with, but what you focused on for the majority of the day. And it is very difficult to get away from some of these things. It's in the news, it's on the media, but we have control. You can silence if you're watching a show and you don't like the ads. Well, every ad is some cure for something, and the cure has 5 or 6 worse side effects. So you might believe you should take the cure, but then after that, some of the side effects even cause death. And this is being put out there as a cure. I don't know what the cure is, really. So we perhaps can spend a little time muting what we don't want to hear, what we don't want to engage our minds in, and focus on what we are doing all day long. And we have to do it consciously. But we are talking about the power of the subconscious, because the subconscious feeds off of the conscious. But it doesn't discriminate. It does not discriminate. It is a power that will not discriminate. It won't say right or wrong. But once you feed it to the subconscious has no other power but to bring into manifestation what you have fed to that. And that is very powerful. It will bring it in, whether you find it is something positive, whether it's something positive or something negative. The subconscious will bring it to pass once we are focusing on that. That is why it's called the power within. Eric Butterworth talks about that power within. The Christ in us, we know, is our hope of glory. But we have to feed our Christ by our positive thoughts and suggestions. I find it a very useful practice to go to bed every night thinking something positive. I try my very best to think something positive before going to bed, because that is when the subconscious is very active. Our subconscious mind is very active in the night. So that is why sports people and so, they go to sleep, some of them with tapes playing positive messages, seeing themselves as champions, if that's what they want to be, tennis champion, whatever it is. They see themselves and they feed their minds with that type of energy all the time. But of course, it's humans, they are like us, so sometimes a little something gets in. But the point is, we have the power to control what we let in. But we have eternal vigilance is actually the cost of what we let in. And we know what we let in by how we feel. Our feelings are a very good gauge of what we are thinking. Because let's say, I think the lottery was 7 million. I don't know if anybody, when I went and buy a few quick, I don't have time with all this picking number and all that. I say, okay, some quick, but I say, Don't give me all on one thing. I want individual, because I feel the machine will, if you put all on one thing, I suspect your chances might be a little less. So I say, I want 5 individual quick picks. And my daughter, she asked me to buy one, so I gave her one. So that the point is, if somebody come and tell you win the lottery, no matter how much pain you have, how much thing they say, how you gonna feel? How will you feel? Excited, elated, and you will be feeding off of that. And this is the next thing with the subconscious, whether it is true or imagined, it picks it up. You get the same feeling. Because if you're feeling with it, you ain't go by the lotto, go and get to check to see if your number's right or wrong, but you will get that feeling of elation. And that is where the power, that is where this power of the subconscious, how it works in our feeling nature. And so if we feel that we are a success, we will be successful. We may have 1 or 2 failures along the way. And if we feel that we are a failure, we will fail, even if we have 1 or 2 successes along the way, because our dominant feeling about ourselves is either failure or success. And if we constantly feed whatever we feed into that subconscious, it will bring it to pass. And so that can be a little frightful and daunting, but it is also very helpful because we know that we can change the programming. No matter how long we have had that program, with some conscious effort, we can change the programming. And he says our conscious mind is the watchman. This is Murphy at the gate. Its chief function is to protect your subconscious mind from false impression. Choose to believe that something good can happen and is happening right now, and your greatest power is your capacity to choose. So we can choose. Sometimes it might be a little hard if you had a hard experience, if you feel a little down, but it is all coming down to choice. I know someone whose husband had passed. This was her second husband. So of course you would expect the person to be in grief and all kind of things. What did she say? She said, since so-and-so passed, a sweet breeze blew on me because he left her an inheritance. So she wasn't in this grief and sadness. She might not feel that, but she was so elated by, according to her, the sweet breeze that blew on her. That was her dominant feeling. And it might sound trivial, but we have that power to react. We have the power. What reactions are we choosing? And we, in truth, we know what reactions we are supposed to choose. Now he says that the faith that is described in the Bible is a way of thinking, an attitude, an inner certitude, knowing that the idea we fully accept in our conscious mind will be embodied in our subconscious mind and made manifest. Faith is, in a sense, accepting as true what your reason and senses deny. Well, we know that. When we talk about having faith, you don't have faith in what you see. We have faith in what we do not see, but what we want, what we find, is a desirable state of affairs and what we want. And we know that with faith, all things are possible. We know also with man, it is not possible, but with God, all things are possible. So with this Christ in us, what you name it, whether you name it subconscious, conscious, this or that, we know that through the Christ within us, which is our power to choose, to think, to talk aright, choose aright this day whom we shall serve. As for me and mine, I will serve the Lord. We are all free to serve the newspapers and the newspaper reports. We're free to choose whichever political party we support. We're free to do all that. But there is a cost. There is a cost not only personally, but there is a cost for the whole society and for the world at large. We have to choose a right. We have to know that God is good all the time. He has given man free will. So it's okay if other people don't share the same beliefs we share. What, as Myrtle in one of her, in her book letter, she said, what of that? We're not here to convince anybody. We are here to live the truth. She also says, why are we going to give people what they have no knowledge or need of one thing? So that is where we have to be careful here. Live the truth. People will always be more impacted by how we live than by what we see. How you live than what we see. I think it's Oprah Winfrey say that people always, they react to the dollar signs on your forehead. So even before you open your mouth, the way we carry ourselves, the way we think, it's around us. That's what they call our aura. So if you're always drooping and snooping and always have some sad story, when you see people coming, what do you think they say? Oh gosh, girl, I'm busy. I can't stop now. Why you can't stop now? I think it's Voice. Voice has a song about that. Give them the high wave. And you're going because you're not into that. Or you can decide, oh gosh, there's my friend from long, I should really stop and listen. This time, your friend, after your friend offload all the troubles on you. Your friend gone happy and free and you there studying, going this stuff. And the friend gone happy because you suck in all of the negative energy, and that is what they needed. They didn't have to get it from you. You didn't have to be the answer, unless, of course, you strong enough to hear it and throw it behind you. But if you know you're not in the frame of mind for that, cross the road, oh gosh, you're busy. I'm busy, you're too busy. Well, I had 9 children, so I was always busy. Legitimately. So I had a good excuse. Whoever I just did, according to my husband, you want him go outside to see what kind of day it is. What are you going outside for? To talk to the neighbor, gossip. No, thank you. I could spend my time and I'm letting people know. I know more that's going on in the neighbor than me. Because he said, how do you know that? I say, I know that. So you don't have to be up in the business. But God, you will know what you have to know when you need to know it. But this business of this subconscious is very important. And if we want to change and transform ourselves and our world, we have to pay attention. And it's not just what, Dr. Murphy, if we say, well, he wasn't really unity or whatever. But Myrtle herself says in How to Let God Help You, study to renew your subconsciousness. Wherever a race belief has gotten hold or an error concept has tried to work out, go to work with the truth. Whatever change you make mentally and purposefully will begin at once to change every part of your life. So whatever change we make mentally and purposefully will begin at once to change every part of our life. And then she says, then add to that spiritual treatment, careful attention to your living habits. And she gives a little, I imagine she did this. She says, bathe with the idea of opening all the millions of little doors of the skin, that's our pores, to let out the used up materials and to let in the sunshine and its energy. And she talks about eating and so on and so forth. And she also goes on to say, the time will come when we can draw forth from the universal mind stuff just the elements we need in their right proportion and relation to maintain the proper balance in our whole organism. And that reminds me, there are some people who, I saw it on the YouTube, I think they call them breatharians. They're not eating. They believe that they can draw all the substance that they need to sustain their lives from the bread. And there's a particular gentleman, I don't know, he looks quite muscular, so I don't know. So we don't know if it's sure lie. However, this is a school of belief, and we know Myrtle talks about that in her book. And again, we are saying whatever we believe, we live. Whatever we believe, that is why many instances you see great musicians, their children are great musicians because they are living that 24/7. Many doctors, lawyers, or whatever, they give their children are the same thing because the environment in which they live is very important. Similarly, regrettably, if a child is in an environment of criminality, that is what the child is picking up most of the time, unless there is some intervention to prevent and break the cycle. So it is not that it's so much, it's bad people or it's this, it's that. No, it's the environment that they live in and the beliefs that are handed down to them causes them to live those beliefs and act out exactly what you and I are acting out, which is our beliefs. It is just that our beliefs may be a little more positive, but also our beliefs about criminality, we need to change those as well. To realize that these are not bad people, these are people whose environment, for whatever reason, has thrown them up into such a life of crime. So we can't turn our backs on them to say, not that if you are in the mind of fear, not to you engage, you are not to engage them either. Because if you're in the fear of mind, you know, in a fearful mind state, that is what you are going to get. But if we build ourselves up by purposefully and consciously changing our thought patterns, which we can do, we can do it from a personal level, we can do it about Trinidad and Tobago and all the world. Because we have the power within us, that power of thought, that power of belief. And it is very, very effective just prior to sleep. And we suggest just prior to sleep, turn over whatever request you have to your subconscious mind and prove its miracle working power. So instead of going to sleep worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow or when I get the next meal or it, turn over before you go to sleep. Leave whatever your request is with your subconscious mind. A lot of people who are speakers and so they talk about that. Before going to bed, they would turn over whatever they wanted to and whatever situation they want to the subconscious mind. We do it also with things that are lost. I remember many years ago losing a pair of earrings that I really liked. A little circle with a cross. And I just wanted it back. And somehow it came to my, when you say something company, the thought occurred to me, I should go through the vacuum cleaner bag that we had at home, and I went through painstakingly and found my earring. And my mother said, well, perseverance seldom fails. But I had the desire to get it back. I put that desire, as we say now, we send it to the universe. I don't know if I did it prior to sleep or not. And then I took this step that I got the intuition that came to me to find my earring, to go through this dusty bag, which many times I might just say, I ain't going through all that just now. I ain't taking that trouble. But I went through the bag painstakingly and found a very small, a little round earring with the cross. And that is the same, whether it is big, small, illness, poverty, employment, everything conforms to the same law. It is just that the race beliefs are more cemented in certain things. So if your family had something, whether it is whatever disease of whatever nature, they somewhere in your mind you feel you must inherit that. And if you go to the doctor, they ask you there for your medical history. So of course, when you give them the medical history, they are already going to confirm what you have based on what you tell them. But these days they will send you to for they're doing this blood test and that blood test is test for so. But really, before the days of testing, when they go to the doctor, what he asks him? What are your symptoms? What your mother died from? What your father died from? Your siblings? How old? Any of them alive? They have this, they have that, they have the other. So you're doing all the work for him, eh? Bless his heart. So by the time you finish, he diagnosed you with exactly what your mother or father died from, and that is it. And that worked out. And of course, because the doctors study all these years, you believe them. You believe, well, I have this, or I have that, or I have the other. You possibly have it in your physical body. You might be manifesting it. But in your spiritual cells, you don't have that. Your DNA don't know nothing about that. Except what we tell them we have and what we accept. So in the same way we tell them we have it, we can tell them we don't have it. Just as my mother, when we joined Truth early, and she said, we had a cold, so we say it was my three sisters. I have three sisters, but two of us used to go, Marcy and Trudy. So probably had a cold or something. So, we say we're using truth and principles and say. So she find this cold not going. So she say, well, drink the cough meds. I'll say you didn't drink it. So now she made light of us. But the truth is, we can use that. We can deny, and that is why we deny. We deny our belief in things and we affirm the truth. When we are denying something, usually we deny what God did not create. God did not create any disease at any stage, wherever stage they tell you that, He didn't make that. He knows nothing of it at all. So when you know this thing we talk about God, He did there. What we are coming into the consciousness of oneness with God. That is what healing is. Coming into the consciousness of our oneness with our Father, which is in heaven. Because to speak of being healed, properly say, is probably not from a metaphysical point of view come true. Because God didn't know of it in the first place, much more to heal it. So those persons who went to Jesus and the Bible say He healed them, and He saw them as God created them. So and that is what healing is, seeing ourselves as God made us, His image and likeness. And we have the assistance of our subconscious mind to program and deprogram. We use our denials to deprogram all that we do not want, all that may have crept in consciously or unwittingly, and we can use our affirmations to bring forth, because we ain't creating anything, it is health is there, wealth is there, to bring forth that which God has already created. So we can use our conscious minds, feed into our subconscious the right type of material and the right type of thoughts, so that we will live the life more abundant that Jesus the Christ and our Bible and everything tells us we were created to live. And one or two thoughts from him. And this is a little summary of one of his chapters. Your subconscious mind does not argue with you. It accepts what your conscious mind decrees. If you say, I can't afford it, your subconscious works to make it true. Select a better thought, decree, I'll buy it. I accept it in my mind. We have the power to choose. Let us choose health and happiness. We can choose to be friendly or choose to be unfriendly. We can choose to be cooperative, joyous, friendly, and so on. And this is the best way to develop a wonderful personality. Our conscious mind is the watchman at the gate. Its chief function is to protect our subconscious mind from false impressions. Choose to believe that something good is going to happen and is happening now. Our greatest capacity, and I said this before, is our capacity to choose. Let us choose happiness and abundance. The suggestions and statements of others, and I'll repeat this, have no power to hurt us. The suggestions and statements of others have no power to hurt us. The only power is the movement of our own thought. So we can't choose to reject the thoughts or statements of others, deniers, and affirm the good. We have the power to choose how we will react. Watch what you say. You have to account for every idle word. And it says never complete a negative sentence. Always stop it and turn it into a positive sentence. Our mind is not evil. There is no cause for evil. It depends on how we use our powers of nature. Let us use them to bless, to heal, and to inspire people everywhere. Never say I can't. I can do all things through the power of my own subconscious mind. And we in religion say, through the Christ who strengthens us. And this young man who runs, Jeremy Richards, his first successful outing internationally, at the back of his number, can't remember which one it was, which outing it was, but at the back of his number he had, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So people are using it in all walks of life and in all situations. I can do all, whether we say it is Christ, whether we say this is subconscious, we can do all things through the subconscious mind in us and through the Christ mind in us. We are the captain of our soul, our subconscious mind, and the master of our fate. We have the capacity to choose life, choose love, choose health, choose happiness. Whatever our conscious mind assumes and believes to be true, our subconscious mind will accept and bring to pass. So let us believe in good fortune, divine guidance, right action, and all the blessings of life. So we thank Dr. Murphy, who has moved on now, for his writing. We thank all those traditions, Dr. Morse, the Fillmores, and all of those so-called New Thought writers. And we'll just have a very brief meditation. And after I read and I was preparing, this is the thought that came to me. So I said, okay, this is how I will end. So I'll read it and then you will just focus on it. I'll break it down. But it just encapsulates all that we have said. So let's become still. Center ourselves in our hearts. Breathe a few deep breaths in and out to relax. And let us think these thoughts. I trust the good that is reaching out from every point of God's universe to support me through my life journey. I trust the good. I trust the good. I trust the good. So I'll break it down and we'll say it 3 times to impress our subconscious. I trust the good that is reaching out from every point of God's universe to support me in my life's journey, through my life's journey. I trust the good. I trust the good. I trust the good. I trust the good that is reaching out from every point of God's universe to support me through my life's journey. I trust the good. I trust the good. I trust the good. For the last time, I trust the good that is reaching out from every point of God's universe to support me through my life's journey. I trust the good. I trust the good. I trust the good. And so it is. Amen. So let us just say the Lord's Prayer. Let us cement what we have said, what we have heard, knowing that our words are spirit and they are life. And they do not return to us void, but do accomplish that whereunto they are sent. So let us only send out good news. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And leave us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. God bless us all.